Every single time you click a button, type a message, or just swipe on your screen, there's this invisible force working like crazy behind the scenes, managing everything. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that unseen boss. And trust me, you might be surprised to find out what it's really up to. So let me ask you, have you ever really stopped to think about who's the real boss inside your computer? I mean, who's actually in charge? It's not the apps you open. It's not the physical machine itself. And believe it or not, it's not even you. Nope, it's something way more fundamental. All right, let's meet the operating system, or as you probably know it, the OS. At its very heart is this incredibly special piece of software that plays the role of the ultimate mediator. Its whole job, really, is to be the bridge between the physical parts of your computer you can actually touch, the hardware, and all those programs and apps you use every day, the software. Okay, to really wrap your head around what it does, just picture a traffic cop standing in the middle of a crazy busy intersection. What's that cop's job? To manage the flow, right? To make sure all the cars, trucks, and bikes move smoothly and nobody crashes into each other. Well, that is exactly what your OS does. But instead of cars, it's directing the flow of information. It keeps everything organized so your programs get what they need exactly when they need it. So what does this digital traffic cop actually do all day? Well, you can pretty much break down its work into 4 big, super important jobs. Okay, first up, we've got hardware management. It's the OS's job to talk to all the physical stuff, your processor, your memory, your hard drive, all of it. Next, it's responsible for the user interface. That's basically everything you see and interact with on the screen. Then there's process management. Think of this like a master juggler, keeping all your open apps running at the same time without dropping the ball. And finally, file management. The OS is like the ultimate digital librarian, keeping track of every single photo, document, and file you've ever saved. So let's zoom in on that user interface part, because this is a big one. You're looking at a huge leap in how we humans talk to computers. Back in the day, it was all about the command line or CLI. You had to be a bit of a wizard, typing out these very specific text commands that you had to have memorized. But today, well, most of us use a graphical user interface, or GUI. This was a total game changer. Suddenly, we had icons, windows, and menus that let us just point and click. So much easier. Okay, but that brings up a really good question, right? If all these operating systems basically do the same 4 jobs, why are there so many of them? Why don't we just have one OS for everything? Well, it's kind of like asking, hey, why don't we all just drive the exact same car? The answer is pretty obvious when you think about it. Different people have different needs, right? Different tastes, different priorities. Some people need a big truck, others want a fast sports car. Sometimes it's all about performance, sometimes it's about style, and hey, sometimes it's just about what feels good to drive. So let's take that car analogy and apply it to the big players in the OS world. First, you've got Windows. Think of it as the Honda Civic or Toyota Camry of operating systems. It's the familiar sedan you see absolutely everywhere, a real workhorse for business and a giant in the gaming world. Then there's macOS. This is more like a sleek, stylish luxury car. It's elegant and it's designed to work seamlessly with Apple's own hardware. Now Linux, that's like a family of completely customizable kit cars. It's open source, which means you can tinker with it and build it into whatever you can imagine. And Android? Well, that's the super efficient smart car in your pocket, powering pretty much every smartphone and tablet that isn't an iPhone. All right, so we get what an OS does and why there are so many choices. But now, let's pop the hood and see what's actually making it all work. At the very, very center of everything is something called the kernel. You gotta understand, this is the absolute heart of the operating system, the core of the core. In fact, it's the very first thing that loads when you turn your computer on and the last thing to shut down. It manages the most critical, low-level communication between your hardware and software. Seriously, nothing happens without the kernel giving it the okay. Now, the kernel doesn't work alone. It's got a whole support team. You've got device drivers, which are basically little translators that help your OS talk to your printer or your mouse. Then you have utilities. Think of these as the OS's built-in toolbox for maintenance and repairs. Memory management is a huge one. It's constantly juggling your computer's short-term memory, your RAM, making sure apps get what they need. And finally, user management is the system's bouncer, controlling who can log in and what they're allowed to touch. Okay, I know that was a lot of technical stuff, so let's bring it all back home. Why does any of this actually matter to you? What's the big takeaway here? Well, at the end of the day, your OS isn't just another program. It is the absolute foundation of your entire digital life. It's your first line of defense when it comes to security and privacy. It literally defines your user experience, whether using your device feels amazing or super frustrating. And it's the master coordinator, making sure all your software and all your hardware work together as efficiently as possible. So think of it this way. Your operating system is basically your digital home. It's the space where you work, where you play, where you connect with people. And knowing how it works, well, that's pretty empowering. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If your current OS is your home, have you ever thought about what it might be like to visit a different one?